Mm. I told you guys that I became an Enochian practitioner because I summoned an archangel on my first try. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. So let me tell the story, because I guess I owe everybody that. Because nobody understands why I'm studying the demonic, the Goetia, the infernals. I have Lucifer for my shadow work, for my progress, my evolution at the same time. It's the angels that are all around me that deal with my shenanigans. So when I was on my 18, I was 18 at the time. My mom was fresh out of a divorce, and my dad was just nowhere to be found, working his ass off, so he doesn't have to pay child support. So he did voluntarily. Also, he was paying the child support of the child of my half sister. So there's that. But I'm not here to be messy, mind you. Let me stop right there. um, my mom was fresh out of the divorce, so she was all over the place mentally. She is already a narc, officially diagnosed, medically diagnosed. So at the time, I knew that something was wrong, that I had a disorder there, but I wasn't very savvy in psychology and psychiatry like I am now. Like, I know some symptoms here and there, some divergences, but overall, she was still abusive. And in order to cope with the divorce, she was dabbling in all kinds of spiritual practices at the same time. Like, she stopped going to the African religion. I was raised in Candomblé and Umbanda at the time, together with Allan Kardec studies plus Catholicism. So I'm pretty jack of all trades, master of none, if you know what I mean. But here's the kicker though. My mom discovered a spiritual guru, a Enochian guru at the time. Her name is Monica Bonfiglio. The woman is the bomb. Many of the folk practices, Enochian practices that I know as a foundation for my practice, I learned from that woman, especially from her books. Okay. And my mom bought 3 of her books. The Angel Tarot, the Angel Magic, Kabbalistic Angels. So I was like, interesting. We can call angels. We can talk to them. We can commune with them. 18 years old, mind you. And my brain was still very black and white, so to say. I was still thinking that some demons are evil, some angels are good, which means religious trauma at best of my abilities, not to mention some other things that I don't take pride in knowing, you know. But what makes everything funnier is that the fact that my mom was so invested in it. She bought the books, you know. She bought the tarot that came with the book and stuff. And she wanted me and my brother just as invested, mind you, just as invested, to the point where she was making us choose pentacles to carry with us and to hang on our bedroom door. What are pentacles? Solomon pentacles, mind you. Solomon pentacles. Don't think for a second that Solomon only did the Goetia selection. He did the Kabbalistic angelic section too. And with that being said, we were like, okay, Mom, but what now? What now? And she was adamant. She made us choose instinctively. A Solomon Pentacle sigil made us go through the cleansing process of 21 days of my Archangel Michael. Save that detail. The 21 days. The 21 days cleanse from Archangel Michael. Save that. So back. Made us go through the cleanse. I've seen stars during those 21 days. You guys have no idea. Like I was eating nothing, next to nothing. And for a person with low iron, as myself, low blood pressure, low sugar, low everything. And that took a toll on me. I had some comes and goes to the hospital because of it, but my mom didn't care. She took me to the hospital complaining, but I still invested on her spirituality 200%. And then she decided that we were ready to practice the anchoration, the communing. Mind you, my brother was tired of her shenanigans. Like he said, no, I'm out. I'm done. I ain't doing this. Like, I want to live my life. And my brother, he was a party animal all the time. He didn't care. He didn't want to deal with anything. He needed to study. We were both in college. It was nightmarish. And me, the poor eldest daughter, people pleaser, is still trying to get your mom's approval. I was like, okay, let's go. Let's do it. What have I done? All I can tell is my mom invested hard. Financially, she almost exceeded her credit card limits just for this kind of situations. She was spending copious amount of money. Thank the gods she had a job, because there were times where she wanted my money for her. But either way, that's not the question here. She bought a virgin ceramic plate. We call virgin in Brazil, but it's a plate that hasn't been used for anything else, but so it's for consecrations and type of stuff. Candles, all the 7 colors, the herbs, the salt. She made copies of the sigils so we can use it for burning. The olive oil to enchant and consecrate with rosemary and type of stuff. Enoch magic in all its glory. We just didn't have the tapestry on the floor because everything else was there. And she made me go through the anchoration 7 days, each day a candle. I still remember banishment from the wick to the base, enlightenment from the base to the wick, and pray over the candle, fixture over the sigil in a plate, and let it burn with a circle of salt around. When I tell you that at first it didn't make most of it because it needed to write your wishes within the circle of the sigil. So I was pretty superficial. And on other days, I poured all my strongest emotions, and as a neurodivergent, everything is multiplied by 10. So I charged up them awful a couple of times, you know. And I would be doing certain hours based on the power of the sigil that is applied on the thing. Like we were following the instructions to a T, you know. What have I done? So with that being said, it reached a point where at first nothing was working. Nothing was working. But then on the second week, it was the Wednesday candle, a blue one. I still remember. We had an empty room, a spare room at the house because my uncle used to live with us. As soon as he left, the room got vacant. It was being planned to be my brother's room, my parents' room. Like we were still debating. So my mom used the empty room for the ritual, the anchoration. Turns out that on that fateful Wednesday, blue candle at 3 o'clock. Precisely, it was an afternoon. I made the whole process, left burn. Suddenly, I hear a huge implosion, a ceramic implosion. Anyone who went through glass or ceramic knows what I'm talking about. It sounds like a freaking gunshot. I kid you not. And with the room being empty, it echoed in a way that is insane. Everybody jumping out of the couch, jumping from whatever they were. Then my mom started yelling, go check the magic, go check the magic, go check the magic. Something happened in the room because it echoed from there. Echoed. Oh my God, my spelling. And when I got in there, a bit fearful because I was smelling the wax of the candle, but at the same time, the room was riddled with jasmine. Jasmine. At first, I thought that was the neighbor's tree because the neighbors had a jasmine tree, but it wasn't blooming. Like no flower whatsoever, and I'm pretty sure that the bark don't smell that good. It smells like chlorophyll only. And my strong smell of jasmine, like if the flowers were in the room. And when I looked at the plate was broken in 3 parts, like if somebody has stepped on it. Wow. And the sigil was burned all the way around, and the wax was right in the middle, perfectly burned. Didn't leak all the way out or anything. It stayed in the middle of the sigil, the pentacle. And it was broken in 3 parts, like if somebody stepped on it. And that smell of jasmine, I was like, what the hell? I freaked out. I called my mom. I was like, mom, something happened. Of course, she berated me because she didn't like it to be cold. Her logic never made sense. And I was like, Mom, come to check this. She looked at me. She smiled for a while, and she's like, it's okay. Clean that up. I was like, and I was confused. I was like, okay. years later, turns out that I summoned an archangel. Guess who? I had to bring it because, yeah, I summoned the man. And the crazier part is, like, based on the correspondences of him, he's completely off the category of the angels that represent my energy. So technically, he heard my cries based on whatever I wrote on the sigil that day. And sincerely, I don't remember. Of course, I went through upheavals and upheavals because I started to remember what I wrote in some of those sigils. I asked for so many things. But at the same time, I'm grateful. And you know why? They may had Control Z'd my entire life, okay? I may went overboard with my petitions, and they made sure that I get what I wanted in their own way. But at the same time, I'm grateful because what I am now and what I have is thanks to them. And of course, there are other deities. There are Lord Lucifer in the middle. I have no complaints, of course. I'm human. I complain a little. But I'm grateful. He came to see me that day. He heard my cry and made sure. And then when I made the correspondences, the correlations of his presence, is a Wednesday. Wednesday is a midday. It's the day of the battles. It's the middle ground. Usually warpath entities likes Wednesday because it's the center of a war zone, technically. And he knew that I was in a war zone because my house, my family dynamic was a war zone, literally. And my life, my past lives overall, they were all imbued in war zones. Come to think of it. But anyway, although I took a good while to figure it out, I'm grateful for it. Ave Justicia. Anyway, I'm gonna rebrand my whole channel. I don't care anymore. I have so many stories. You guys have no idea. My practice is crazy. I have stories for days. So I'm gonna post it here. I don't care. See you guys. See you. I don't care.